Okay, so problem number one we're going to address right now is the problem with your client and business development process. Now I'm going to focus on a very simple component, and that is there's X amount of clients in your niche. We want all of them ideally as clients. Now, of course, you're not going to have a subset of them. You only need, 50 clients giving you 20K each per year without any repeat business to hit your million. So we're going to focus on numbers and mathematics. So I'm not going to focus on authority. I'm not going to focus on other components. I'm going to focus just on the base mathematics at this point, okay? So finding the best roles, the roles which are open or soon to be on the market, whether it's perm, contract, temp, is fundamental for recruitment search firms right now. It always is, but right now even more so, given where we are with the economy. So find the best roles, the roles which are open or soon to be. So if the roles are across all the market, that means that the client's going to be inundated with recruitment people chasing them. So ideally we want them not on the market. So how do we do that? If they are on the market, we can also automate that process. So we just literally send a template, hit send, automatically follow up, and it's done without you. So if the role comes in and you've got the candidates in your database, then great, you've almost got a freebie. So the core challenge is to getting those roles from the right companies and getting the retained work for your company can be grouped into three categories of client and role. Number one, quality. If you want to have the top roles from the top companies, it means gaining direct access to an extensive pool of your decision makers, line managers, human resources. So if they're part of your conversion process, HR, talent acquisition, they need to be part of your conversion process. You can't ignore them. We do that with something called HR Maximizer. Maybe even gatekeepers are part of your process, or they need to be. If so, we need it automated. So after you've identified the top companies you wish to work with, you have to establish who is hiring now or soon. To gain access to this large pool, engaging and sorting availability is a formidable challenge. So we want the right client. We want the right client, and we want that will give us the best client and the best roles. So there's a quality, an accelerator of quality needed. The second is cost. So not having a pipeline of quality open roles exclusively for you is a big risk. So contingent roles are fine, but it's a game of speed and a game of luck. Now again, if you've got all the candidates in your database, you're going to win the speed game and the quality game. So it can work in that format. But I'm going to base it just on clients for now. I'm going to base it on you've got nothing. So missing out on a candidate, it costs money. So if we spent time trying to get the candidate, we find the candidate, we deliver the candidate, but the role is lost, we've lost. Again, if our rate is $500 per hour, which is $1 million per year, and you spent 10 hours on that, that's $5,000 of your time spent on that, and you lose the role as well, you're actually down $5,000. You're actually down $5,000. So spending time on your business development without knowing who is hiring is a poor business decision, and it costs you money. Losing the candidate costs you money. Losing the role costs you money. So having all of those costs and no return on investment, it's a one-way ticket to disaster. Now, again, the way you're going to judge your business is by end-of-year revenue profit. Accelerator 3, speed. In a scarce marketplace where roles are at a premium, top opportunities go fast. Roles will become even harder to attain, and speed will be an even more important weapon. Using outdated manual methods to locate and find and engage for these roles is going to create a trail of adversity. So we want the speed to be able to find the candidates quickly, but we also want the speed to get clients in quickly. And this speed thing is going to become an even more important weapon as more candidates become available. So the combination of quality, cost, and speed is your roadmap, your drivers to high quality clients, the premium roles, retained work, and repeat clients. So why? Run the root cause analysis against hundreds of recruitment search businesses shows that this issue is ongoing. So why is it happening? Well, it's a compliant almost adoption of standard methods by virtually all recruitment search businesses. Now, one of the things that I get told every time I speak to a recruitment search business, and excuse my tone there, every time is this: I'm an entrepreneur. I've got a mentor. When I go to a mastermind group and I'm surrounded by guys who are doing figures that we can only dream of, guys who are doing 50 million a year from selling t-shirts, crazy things, I look around that room and I'm in awe of these people. But when I spoke to these people for the first time, and I probably said the words, I'm different because I'm the first person in recruitment search to do this, they probably just shook their head and thought, it doesn't matter, you're not different, Andy. So when I get told by a recruitment search business owner, we're different because we've been in business 30 years, different because our clients love us, different because we got psychometric testing. I've heard we are different in about 100 different ways you're different, thousands of times. So that's what the problem is. So whether you're running your business or the business run by somebody else, the input decisions, as I said in video 1, are largely the same across the industry. The process is similar and the outcome is comparable. So you might be doing a few things a little bit differently, but you're actually not that different. And there's no way meant to burst your bubble. There's no point in me being soft with someone that I'm working with. It's the reality. You're not different. So LinkedIn, it's used by every recruiter in the world. So saying you use LinkedIn to get clients or candidates is like saying you use air to breathe. You are no different. There is not enough coverage and strategy with LinkedIn being used. Email letters. I don't know where to start with these. It's such an outdated concept. It's only going to damage your positioning. It's not a predictable method to get inbound leads from targeting qualified clients on demand. It makes my skin crawl almost. A database blast. Most recruitment search businesses have a database that is not fit for purpose, either in terms of coverage, segmentation, or marketing. It comes down to the mechanism, the marketing, and the message. The 3 M's, as I say. All three tend to fail spectacularly. So a database blast, you're sending out a message that's not segmented. It's not actually got a very good mechanism. What you're using is not the right thing to be using. And the marketing of it, what you're actually looking to achieve as an outcome is not addressed. It just doesn't work. Word of mouth referrals, often seen as holy grail. But for me, if you come with us, how we grow our business, it's generally, if you're going to keep doing it, it's a nail in the coffin for growth, for scale. It's unscalable. Now, Brant, I mentioned before, Brant actually did scale his business and we used a referral strategy, but we combined it with a webinar strategy. And we combined it with a Maven strategy, which means a leader in the marketplace. So we combined all three together. That gave Brant's predictability. So every time he ran a webinar, he brought in 100K. But if your model is is referrals, word of mouth, as it's known generally, it's filled on hope. It's filled on hope. Cold calling, the go-to of recruitment search for years. This damages your brand, your positioning, and it damages your dynamic. So if you're following up an inbound lead, completely different. But if you're following up and just cold calling, just trying to get through the gatekeeper, it's killing you. Networking. The opportunity of networking is extremely low. For every hour involved, traveling, attending, returning, a 7-figure business should warrant 500 per hour of your time. Do you get that from networking? I gave the example in video 1. Past and existing clients. There is benefit in reaching out to these. However, this should be automated nurturing with one-to-one when the role opportunity arises. You shouldn't be just reaching out to people ad hoc. So depending on the existing client, this is a risk. So rule 101 in business, remove the risk. So if you're dependent on just a handful of clients, you've got a risk. So the impact with these outdated ways to get clients and candidates, but in this case, clients and roles, is huge. It's huge. The first problem for the recruitment search business owner is this, is it thinking there is not a problem. There's not a problem. It's what we do. It's what everyone else does. We've done okay so far, Andy. This is by far the biggest problem. And say one of the things I always ask when someone comes to us, are you coachable? Do you accept you don't have all the answers? So if you're not in that place, then has anyone ever got all the answers? But that is the biggest problem that I see. The input is straight at the start of the process, nothing's bad, nothing needs changing in my business. That's a bad place to be. And that is the biggest problem by far. This mindset kills a decision, which means you don't take the action. So of course, mindset is driven by perception. So have we got a problem? What are the other opportunities in recruitment, in search? Now you're basing that on your perception, and your perception is based on your beliefs. Your beliefs are based on what you were taught as a kid, the imprint years 0 to 7, and in business, what you saw firsthand from when you started in business. So sometimes you need to change your belief structure. With Brant, I'm going to be open about this. The guy's a legend, but the first 3 months he was with me, he didn't do what I asked him to do. And that's why he said the actual phrase was, I wish I drank Andy's Kool-Aid sooner. So Brant's an absolute don of a man. And if someone like Brant can take a time to break the belief structure, it's the same for everybody. It was the same for me in fitness. I'm going to gym 7 days a week. I can still eat rubbish. Of course I can. It's what I do in the gym. No, 60, 70% of your body comes from what you put in your mouth. So that structure is key. So right now, recruitment search business owners who stick their head in the sand are in for disaster. It's not in any way to be scary or whatever. Just turn on the news. Not that you should do. You're putting a bad input in. But this herd mentality no longer means stability. And it often did in recruitment. So for the savvy recruitment entrepreneur, it's time to clean up. It's time to clean up. So when we look at my members, we've got some members who are, they've taken some strategies, they've created a system behind some of the strategies and have a system in place. It's not there yet, but it's going to have a very big exit figure of over 8 figures. It's time to clean up for the savvy recruitment entrepreneur right now. But for those who don't, well, so I don't know why you're stuck. Do you know why you're stuck? But what I've seen as a standard set of traits and reasons why somebody comes to us is the following. The first brick to scale your business, even launch your business, is missing. You have no system which tells you exactly how many prospective clients are in your niche. Without this, how can you know what is possible in terms of growth in your business? I want to hit 7 figures. I want to hit 8 figures. I want to get to 500K this year. How can you say that without any metrics underneath it? I wish I was 6'6". But at some point, you've got to address what's really going on. So how can you plan to legitimately scale your business, launch your business without those figures? Number one. Number two, your database in LinkedIn covers a tiny percent of your marketplace. So I'm going to keep saying this because often, say with brand, it took months to get through. If you have no pool that covers 90% of your clients on LinkedIn and offline, you've got a problem. So if you've got that problem, you add clients ad hoc. You sit up, it's sat next to your spouse and you're on LinkedIn, click connect. It's hope. You have no system that tells you exactly what percentage of the client market you have in your LinkedIn network, what you have in your CRM, what you have in your database. Your client contacts are not tagged. They're not targeted. You don't have proven automated campaigns. So as you need a role in that niche, you can contact that client in that niche. You work like a dog to make ends meet. Now, I've been there, and I'm still there sometimes now. When COVID happened, I didn't think it was a thing for the first 4 or 5 days. And then when it happened, I created, I think we did 10 new strategies and we did 7 live case studies from week 1 throughout COVID. I worked 18-hour days every day then. So I still work like a dog. But I also took 2 years largely out of the business when my son was born because we had a system behind it. So if you work like a dog to make ends meet, I respect you. Grinder. I'm a grinder. But we need an automated system. So without that, you don't have a system that allows you to put the exact client contacts into it and get a predictable number of inbound replies out of it in your inbox. So you hit LinkedIn and email newsletters sporadically, and you wonder why you have these up and down months. Cold calling figures fall in across the industry. So once it was the go-to for recruitment, it's now not the tool for the savvy business. If you break down into, even if I was in charge of a recruitment business now and we had 20 desks with 20 recruitment people, each doing a 360 recruitment effort, the base numbers are end of each day I'll be looking at, as well as LinkedIn, etc. Right, dials, how many did you make? How many connects did you make? How many voicemails did you leave? How many emails did you send? Then, of course, positive responses. But this strategy is not for the definitely not for the battered, weathered recruitment entrepreneur. And, the young buck may keep doing it, but they won't forever. These days, most clients, especially as you get more senior, as you move up the ladder in terms of your roles, you get to C-suite, etc., they're going to have these calls screened. They're not going to answer these calls. And know this, from an authority position, it damages your position. So in terms of conversion, it damages you. In terms of your actual brand, it damages you. Scattergun decision makers. So you've got no leverage automated system to get direct access to the decision maker of the exact company in the exact location of the exact company size with the exact role. I'll say that again. You've got no system to get access to the exact company type, exact location, exact company size, exact role of the decision maker. Keyword exact. Why? Because it's all based on data in front of you. Deals die human resources. This may happen. So you've got no system that allows you to start again. You have no system that allows you to identify exactly every HR contact. You may need to add to your conversion process. So if you've got a process whereby you send in an email or proposal to Steve, the line manager, will Steve pass that to HR? I don't know. If he does, you need to make sure HR is incorporated in that proposal as a talent partner. So in the same way I've said to you, it's not your fault. You say to HR, it's not your fault. You don't have a system that delivers ABC, but you will. If you're a member of mine, you will. So you actually partner up with the HR partner. It's not your fault you don't have 90% of candidates inside this niche. It's not your fault. That's why we're here to partner with you. We can help you. So you make the HR manager, talent acquisition manager, look like the godsend to the line manager. So you get the HR person on side. getting these HR people, simply add them to the process. So if you've got no system that actually positions you as a partner to HR, not a threat, you're going to lose a deal. And so, as I said, without this, when the line manager passes your email, whatever it is, to HR team, you're going to be rejected. It's another snake oils man, another car salesman, recruitment person. Bugger off, they're going to say. It's going to damage your position. You're going to lose deals. Deals go missing generally. You've got no system that kicks in when T&Cs are about to be signed, ensures that you're always front of mind with the client. Always front of mind with the client, always front of mind with the gatekeeper maybe, and the HR team. So you need to have a system in place that means the deals don't go missing. So that dreaded silence that you get and you chase, you lose the dynamic when you chase, but it's also just, it kills you. And if you're in a place of need, panic, worry, you've had a bad 3 months, the feast and famine, the luck's run out. The luck's now run out. It's now in a place of you chase and it just makes it worse. You lose a deal altogether. Next, you don't know who's hiring. So you've got no automated system that allows you to see who is hiring now or who will be hiring in the future, but it's not yet on the market. Without this, every lead is treated the same. So it's no different to throwing just brown stuff on the wall. If you don't know who's hiring, don't know who's hiring in 3 months, if you haven't got a timeline, you're literally just treating every lead the same. Say, brown bucket against the wall. It's what you're doing. Outbound chasing and following up. Nurturing. So you have no automated system that doesn't follow up nurturing for you. Therefore, you've got to go back and manually do it. It means lots of time it's actually not done. So if you speak to Brendan, hey Brendan, how's it going? This is your nurturing. Yeah, it's fine. How are the kids? Yeah, fine. Got any roles? No, but we'll do it in a month's time, I think. Okay, great. I'll give you a call in a month. Now, a very basic conversation. So you put a note in your diary, give Brendan a call in a month's time. Then you've got 20 of those things pop up, 30 of those things pop up, 40 of those things pop up. But you still make the call in a month's time. All the time on the call, Brendan's not there. And you chase and whatever else. And that month's gone in between. There's no automated nurturing. So basically, you're just chasing him for when you want something. So we should be chasing, never really. It should be based on an inbound response, and then we should be automating the nurturing. So in that month in between, we actually nurture them with good stuff. And then we speak to them and set up the call by nurturing in an automated fashion. And the fact is this is fact, hand on heart, put my house on this. 40 to 60% of my clients, their client leads come in between messages 4 and 6. So if you're thinking, shit, you can't send out 6 messages. No, this is how it works. You send out message 1, which is a template. Then message 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, depending on what your follow-up nurturing is, it's literally a sentence or two. Because the way it's written, it looks like it's written one-to-one. So it's not sent from MailChimp or Constant Contact or any of the tools you may use. It's when it's received by the client, it's written in a manner, it's one-to-one. And that's a fact. 46% of the leads come in between those messages 4 and 6. Objection on the sales call. So if you get on the sales call and you've got, do you do this? What about this? We got a PSL. You've got no system that overcomes all of your clients' objections before you speak to them. If you get on the call with your client and they're asking you questions about why you, your experience, the role on the table, comparing you to their competitors, or to your competitors rather, stating that they have a preferred suppliers list, i.e. they have to use these 6 to 8 companies, or they've got an internal internal recruitment organization, an internal HR department, internal talent department. If you get all those questions when you get on the call, what you don't have is a client attainment system. So this is a system whereby before you get into even any dialogue, communication one-to-one verbally, they've got a understanding already. You're on the left-hand side of the football pitch, and all of your competitors are on the right-hand side. And there's a massive gap in the middle. You're completely different. You operate in a completely different stratosphere to them because they won't know also the things that I'm showing you. You know, I've dealt with HR departments, talent acquisition departments of big companies, multi-billion-pound companies, and what we're going through here, they don't do. So to overcome the objection of internal recruitment HR is fairly simple if you've got the system in place. And in this case, a client attainment system which overcomes these objections before you even speak to them. So if you haven't got this, what you've got is an outdated recruitment method, and it's really dependent on humans being the tool to convert. So you've got that big biller, you've got that swanky Wolf of Wall Street type individual. I don't know. It might be a side of you. You know, you've got a Jekyll and Hyde side of you. You're very, very good at sales calls, but secretly you might hate them. Who knows? But if you're dependent on a person doing conversion, you've got a risk. Next, nurturing. Nurturing of clients is not an ad hoc phone call. If you're nurturing clients, as I said earlier, by a monthly call or checking in, that isn't an automatic nurturing system to really nurture your existing clients. All your new prospects, all the referral partners you've been introduced to. The sporadic interaction, these human interactions are just tantamount to the friend who only calls, when she needs something. We've all got that friend. They only call when they need something. We should be nurturing and focusing on hot buttons, pain points. There are actually 4 forces to consider when it comes to nurturing. There are 4 forces. But a phone call now and again is going to make you look like a leech, and you're not going to be hitting the 4 forces. Remember, at the end of the day, they're giving the role to a person. A person is giving a role to a person. That person has hot buttons, pain points. If you're dealing with a larger company, that line manager, that decision maker, that HR director, they've got personal things that need to happen. They need to impress. They're upstream. If you're dealing with a business owner, they got their own 4 forces again. So if you think a monthly call checking in, really you're focusing, you're making your business based on almost like a friend in the pub type strategy. It's not a modern strategy. The internet's now 1995, was that 25, 26 years old? Crazy. Conversion stats stuck. So if you're not converting a minimum of 50% of client prospects you do speak to, so at this point you do speak to, you have a conversion problem. So by the time the conversion call happens, 90% of all objections must have been overcome before you even speak to them in a client attainment system. So when you get on the call, you should not be getting loads of objections. Any you do, you feed back into the client attainment system. So the conversion rates actually go up. If the call itself still does not convert, you've got a conversion process problem, not a people problem. The days of the slick closer are going. You want a process that gives you a predictable outcome. You don't want to be dependent on having this person who's your closer, or dependent on you being the closer. And if you're getting more and more jaded with your business and you're actually not enjoying these calls, or you're getting lower energy the older you get, Christ, I know that myself, then you're dependent on you having a good day or your salesperson having a good day. What if they've got marital problems? What if they've got money worries? What if they've eaten crap for breakfast and their biology in the system is all off skew? What if it's after 2 p.m. and they've been eating a big lunch and now the sugar has gone through the floor? So the client wants to see scientific, logical proof from you that you've got the best candidates. It's not about that person, or in the old days, the sharpest suit. It's not an art, not a science. That's a phrase I actually got from Tony Robbins, and it really resonated with me. It's an art, not a science, rather, in this case. So if you're not hitting the revenue figure you wish to, it's because you still see recruitment as an art. It's the way it's always been. I've polished up the way it's always been. I've now got a really good way of X. It could be 360. The business world has become scientific. Now, again, I come from a scientific background. Numbers, not that I'm very good at numbers. I'm actually dyslexic, and it applies there too. But the actual understanding of input, process, output, the business world has changed, and so must you. You must know exactly how many candidates that fit your client's role. So you have a role, how many candidates actually fit that role? Exactly how many of those have the exact requirements, and you must have them in your ecosystem, or at least 90% of them. Then it's going to make it virtually impossible to not grow rapidly. If you have that in place, and when a member joins us, I say about these things. So what I'm going through with you guys on these videos right now is, this for me is base stuff. Okay, this for me is foundational stuff. Now these are also drivers that can easily create 7 figures. But this isn't a recruitment business per se. We haven't discussed authority. It's not about sustainability. It's about just demonstrating you can get the metrics you want. And these are things you should really get running very, very quickly. So these are fundamental things. But remember, if you've got these in shape and you've got these things happening and you've got these systems and you've got the 90% plus, your client won't have. And I know firsthand, I coach corporates. I know what goes on in talent acquisition. So why does he come to you? Because he wants you to have the numbers. He or she won't even know, though, about the things I'm showing you. You're going to blow away your competition. So when you show them the numbers, you've got the science and you will convert. You will get higher fees. You will get retained roles. Why? As you really do have 90% of the candidates. Next, billings, feast and famine is because you live on a treadmill. So the likelihood is you have a good month, you have a bad month. The root cause analysis of this, you're not clear, is this. You may say, well, Andy, I can track back to losing that role or losing that client because he got ill or the budget was pulled. Great, you've done a root cause analysis there. But you've done a root cause analysis to find an excuse. Now, it's happened. But it's like me saying, when I was looking to get fit, root cause analysis, well, I ate crap that day because I went out for lunch with my friends. And then root cause analysis, then the next day, so I felt groggy, I ate bad food again and I got into a negative cycle for 4 or 5 days. So what we really want to do is have control. So if you do take that view of, well, it happened because a client got ill, that is you explaining you do not control the inputs into the process that creates your output. So what we want to have is, we want to have the ability to say, right, my client has gone missing, but I've got a system that can bring in new clients pretty much on demand. In the same way, if I know I'm going out for bad food with my friends, if I know firsthand, right, to overcome that, when I get back, I need to be taking a green juice to get some alkali in my system. I need to negate the acid I put in my system, which means I'll sleep better. And because I'm sleeping better, I'm going to be more productive the next day. Quick side note, biggest hack to grow your business, sleep. For those in my top mastermind will know about this, but biohacking, look into it. Sleep's the biggest thing you can do for your business. Now, if you've got this process of up and down and you lose client and you chase get another client, you lose candidate, you've got a job. You're not a business owner. And I hate to say that. If you've got that model of you lose something, we've got to run and chase to get it fixed. We've got a job. We're not a business owner as such. So if you think about Tesla, when a Tesla car's built, it goes through multiple phases, multiple builds. And when that car's delivered, it should drive more than 500,000 miles with predictability. So with your business, we want a system that allows you to grow through predictable phases and repeat with predictability. So when you implement a strategy, you want to get it implemented, get it activated, then you get it working, you get it calibrated, then you get it scaled, you get it accelerated. So there's 3 phases to a strategy. Same with Tesla. They got multiple phases to build the car. So your job or role as the business owner of your recruitment search business, it's not doing the same thing every day. It's going through phases. Now, wrapping up now, the life of the build a bigger team of recruiters. So the elephant in the room, 360 recruitment, requires bums on seats. Now, again, if this works for you, absolutely wonderful. Personally, I've had more and more business come to me over the years, in the last couple of years especially, where the 360 recruitment professional has left, set up their own business, become a competitor, etc., etc. That's one downside. The other downside of 360 recruitment is you're dependent on that person that I've addressed already. Next downside is it's not scalable. One person can only do so much. Now, if that one person has tools to hand, then great. But virtually every 360 recruitment business I come across, they don't take some of the concepts I'm going through with you now and apply it to each desk. So as a model, 360 recruitment, I believe, is not the best model nowadays. It was 20 years ago. The business owner says, I want 12 people in my team. And we had a gentleman just come to us recently and said these exact words. I want 12 people in my team in the next 6 months. That's my outcome. Then I'll reach this figure. It's pretty much a standard way of thinking. But again, they've been in this trap. Many managers and leaders fall into this mental trap that adding more people to a team is always good, especially in times of expansion. People are your best assets, etc. Yep. So adding more assets to a project should power up progress, right? No. There's a gentleman who was part of my group a few years ago who has got the ethics of well, there's nothing to go in the same sentence. This gentleman was part of my group. Then he essentially set up a website, copy of mine, actually used the names of some of my strategies, the whole shebang. And what followed was a few bits and pieces, and we're still ready to sue him. We spent $30,000 ready to sue him. We got the evidence together, and it's going to happen if it needs to. But one of the things that really pissed me off is this, and excuse my French, but I've put a decade of work into this. I'm always creating new strategies. So in COVID, I worked 18-hour days for my members. And one of the things he pushed, though, was get a VA, it will grow your recruitment business. It's one of the worst pieces of advice ever. You can speed up the process to fail. Adding more bums on seats, adding more people to a disjointed process will create hell for you. Now, we've also got members, one member in particular went from 35 staff members down to 7, and they were doing 8 figures. And he's, in his own words, he said, the most important person in my business is my VA. So when that person is used properly to run a system, fantastic. But just adding bums on seats means you become a manager. So automation could do the work of 20 business development people in terms of getting the leads in, up to conversion. So that means getting 20 times more leads in. Remote working now is going to cause problems. So if you've got a big team or a bigger team, you've got to work remotely. Now, I've been doing remote now for over a decade. The laptop recruiter, you can find it on iTunes, etc. We did over 100 podcasts on the laptop recruiter. We were way ahead of the curve on this, saying back about 8-9 years in terms of that specific approach to recruitment, remote. But if you add people to your business remotely, your job can become HR. It's going to be really, really difficult. And as your group size increases, you need to start thinking about what that means for your business. So if your outcome is to get to 1 million and you're thinking, right, if each of my team members does 100k each, that's 10k each a month, taking out January and December, I'm going to hit my 1 million for the business. Such an antiquated way of thinking. But anyway, for me, when I started working as an entrepreneur, I left the the corporate world. I literally made a decision and left because I wasn't happy. And my friends said that I'm either really brave or really stupid because I was on a crazy daily fee and I was a relatively young man. But I decided to leave. And in my role there, I was co-managing a team of 75 people at one point, and it worked really well. So we had 6 teams underneath us, and each team had a team leader. It worked really well. So really, I had a team of 6 team leaders, and that was really my role. But then before we got into that structure, and we had 10 people, 12 people, 14 people, 15 people, my job just changed from being, right, you're about engineering, systems engineering, into I'm an HR person dealing with all sorts of things. So the rule by Jeff Bezos is this: in a team, you should have a basic 2 pizza team size. So that means that team can eat 2 pieces between them. So if you've got, say, 6 people on a team, they should be able to eat 2 pizzas. So think about a two pizza analogy. Now, the reason why this is important for a recruitment search business owner is this: if you've got 6 people in your team, that means that there's six people, but there's 15 conversations, 15 relationships between everyone on the team. 6 people means there's 15 relationships. 15 relationships that can break down. Working remotely, think about that. Now, if you double that to a team of 12, like the gentleman who came to us previously, that shoots up to 66 people. Or 66 people relationships. Now, remember, you're managing this. Now, think about a business of 50 people. That's an incredible 1,225 people to manage. Again, people relationships. So your role as a business owner changes drastically. So if your outcome is, and I always say this, if your outcome is get to 1 million, get to 1 million. Your outcome, so you got an outcome get to 1 million, take the easiest route to get to 1 million. Don't in the middle have this bloated thing going on. Now, I went through this myself. In preparation for a scale phase of the business, and I learned this the hard way. So this, as you build a team, and you build a team to expand, and I made this mistake firsthand, and I lost a lot of time, a lot of sleep, a lot of money, a lot of trust in people, completely let down by some people which I'm incredibly disappointed about. And it's because the relationships between the amounts of people, it becomes independent of you, but you've got to manage all of that, and you've got to try and put it together, and you forget actually what you're doing. You're building a recruitment business. So this is why Jeff Bezos says no meeting should be so big 2 pizzas cannot feed them all. Now, if you're looking to get to 1 million, 2 pizzas should feed your team. Maximum feed your team. 6 people, maximum feed your team. So your outcome is a revenue profit figure. Don't forget that. A lot of the old way can now be gotten rid of. So, Mr. Bezos, if you look at the numbers here, if you've got number of people, so we've got 6 people, we've got 12 people. So remember, 12 people means we've got 66 relationships to manage. 24 people, look where we get to now. 50 people. So look at this curve. So building a $1 million business, we've got members who've got there with just them and 2 VAs, but they've had to work to get to that. I'm not going to lie about that. But we've got other people who've done it in a more controlled manner. Maybe they've got 4 VAs and they've got a commission-only recruiter. But it's possible. So think about what you've got going on here. So that's a lie about building a bigger team of recruiters, especially now in the world of remote. It's a lie. Be careful of that. Now next, we're going to focus on problem number 2, your candidate attraction process.